But you might last the first bit, which is helmet of the week, because this is again a corker. We keep pulling them out of the bag for helmet of the week, don't we?
Yeah.
We need to double down on reasons to be cheerful, which is the end segment. If you don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you're a regular listener, you'll be aware that we said we were going to cover this individual, so we're going to fulfil our promise. And I am worried that I am going to get fairly irate in this episode because we're covering a trifecta of things that make me very angry.
Yeah, this is very true. You know, I didn't.
It's the Holy Trinity.
Quite emotive. This episode.
The Holy Trinity of cunts. Right.
Yeah.
So we'll get started with helmet of the week.
Yeah, an absolutely fantastic helmet of the week. Quite dated. I feel like people who are a bit younger might not even know who he is. So if you haven't heard of the British National Party, who are now discontinued for good reason, the leader of the British National Party in about from like 2003 onwards kind of thing was Nick Griffin. If you haven't heard of him, Google him. He looks like, you know, a drop lasagna. So,
right, yeah. So to contextualise this, Nick Griffin was kind of like the far right poster boy of his day in the UK.
Yeah.
He was a precursor to individuals like Nigel Farage, who were a bit like Nick Griffin light.
Yeah, we like that. Nick Griffin light.
So this guy joined the National Front when he was 14, which is a red flag.
That's a great start for any individual.
And as if that couldn't be bad enough, it was after he read Mein Kampf that he decided to join the National Front.
Yeah, get that on your CV.
Yeah.
What did you do as a youth?
Yeah,
Right.
So he left the National Front because I don't think it was extreme enough for him. And then, as Shep said, he kind of joined the BNP, then rose through the ranks. I mean, not that that's an achievement to become their leader. And I think he was the
Congratulations, you're the most racist person.
Yeah, I think he lasted about a decade. And at one point, kind of like in the early... In his heyday, in like 2008-9, when he was getting a lot of media attention, he was kind of like the far right poster boy in UK politics.
He got a European seat, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a member of the European Parliament, which is ironic because he was very anti-Europe. I never get that from these far right people.
Well, they'll just take what they can get.
Yeah.
He couldn't get a seat in the actual Houses of Parliament, so he got on where he could, basically.
Yeah, but the reason this bloke is a helmet is because it does what it says on the tin. He's a helmet.
Yeah.
Like, everything about him is repulsive.
Yeah, literally ridiculous. Like, if you Google, if you like YouTube is probably the best medium. If you YouTube his name, the videos you will see are absurd. So by our standards today, he wouldn't get anywhere near the media or the mainstream media.
No.
Back then, he got on like Question Time, like main things like Question Time. I think he had like a special report done about him and that kind of thing. That was to expose how much of a helmet he was, to be fair, but it still was done. He wouldn't get anywhere near it now because it's so ridiculous what he was peddling. It's like so just outright racism.
Yeah. So I feel like the far right now are more discreet with their racism.
Well, one of the things he was quoted of saying was, "Oh, we might have to rein our views in a little bit so enough people like us, so that then we can push the real racism onto them." That's basically what he was quoted as saying.
A lot of people do get tarred with the racism brush, but he was just overtly neo-Nazi.
Yeah. So his party, like Eddie said, I mean, 2008, 2009 was their kind of heyday. From 2010 onwards. Their share declined by 99.7%. Right.
Yeah.
So you can gain the taste from the public there, can't you?
Yeah, and
they didn't do amazing.
He literally got convicted of inciting racial hatred, didn't he?
Yeah.
In 1998, he got convicted, and then he got arrested again on suspicion of inciting racial hatred about 5 years later, but he got off those charges.
Yeah, I went through this morning. I was trying to find where he is now. 'Cause it always fascinates me with like people of back in the day who were quite of notoriety. Where are they now? What are they doing? And the only thing I could find was he lives with his family in Shropshire. That was it. Didn't say what he did. Didn't say how he makes his money now.
Well, I can add to that.
Right. Go on.
Okay. So he's now vice chairman of the Alliance for Peace and Freedom. Which like, that's a bit left field. You know, has he become a communist? No, it's just another far right organisation.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And their pledge, and I quote from their website, is to safeguard the ancestral European traditions. Right. That screams Aryan.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. So,
and another funny thing, just while we're on that, he said, "What was he doing now?" Right. So in March 2017, he expressed a desire to move to Hungary within 6 months. Right. March 2017. In May 2017, so like 2 and a bit months later, he was banned from entering Hungary as he was perceived to be a security threat.
So they've caught wind of that.
Yeah.
They've beaten us to it, really, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But the thing is, for anyone that's not like in the political loop, at the moment, Hungary is one of the most kind of right-wing governments in Europe.
And even they were like, probably not him.
Their president, Viktor Orban, is kind of like the bad egg of the EU.
Yeah.
And he's trying to push everyone to the right. So the fact that they didn't let him in speaks volumes as to how fucking neo-Nazi he is.
I mean, it's quite a big thing to not be let into a country.
Because you're perceived to be a security threat as well.
Even Abu Hamza got into our country. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was a convicted terrorist. And he had a hook.
Yeah.
That itself is a security threat.
Yeah. So that's hilarious. And if you're wondering where the BNP went, so the Electoral Commission deregistered them as a party after failing to pay the registration fee of £25.
Right, it always makes me laugh that these fucking deluded kind of far-right parties have visions of grandeur of them kind of like rising to the top of British politics. They can't even pay their admin fee.
No, 25 quid. Yeah. You pay more than that to renew your Sky bill.
Basic housekeeping, trust me. And just to kind of really exemplify how much of a hat he was, I'll go through some notable quotes that he spouted during his time. Right? So his thoughts on global warming, and I quote, "Global warming is essentially a hoax." Right. Make of that what you will.
Yeah.
The Holocaust and Zionism, right? So he often, you shouldn't laugh at this, but he often referred to the Holocaust as the Holo hoax.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you know how, by the time this goes out, you will know our views on Holocaust denial.
Yeah. So, he was also quoted on that Cook report. They asked him about, point blank, about the Holocaust. They kind of bull rush him and ask him. And he goes, there's no doubt that, hundreds of people were, rightly or wrongly, killed in Germany.
Right.
But he said, this nonsense about gas chambers is exposed as a total lie. That's literally his quote. I was like, right. That's mental.
He's a fucking...
The fact that he says, rightly or wrongly, literally means he agreed with what happened.
Yeah, he's a repulsive human being.
Yeah, horrendous.
Yeah.
He's probably the worst person we've had as helmet.
just as a bit of a side note onto the Holocaust theme while we're on it.
Yeah.
Apparently he claimed the EDL was a Zionist false flag operation.
Right.
So if anyone doesn't know what the EDL is, it was kind of... It was the follow-on from the BNP, wasn't it?
It wasn't quite a political party. It was a pressure group.
Yeah, it was more of kind of like... I don't know, like the re-emergence of the National Front in a different form. It was a lot of white, angry skinheads basically being racist on demonstrations.
Yeah, and the whole thing was, no, we're not racist, we've got a Muslim member. That was the kind of...
apparently that was a Zionist...
That was the strength of it.
That was a Zionist false flag operation.
Brilliant. He's just delusional.
He's so delusional, he's kind of like wandered into like mad conspiracy theory territory, hasn't he?
Yeah. You know what's actually disgusting though? This was highlighted when I watched that Question Time the other day. That it was like, so their whole political campaign was centred around using like the military, the armed forces, and Winston Churchill, because they knew that their target demographic were like proper patriots, loved the Second World War, all that sort of stuff. So they were sort of leaning on the fact we smashed the Second World War, won that, and leaning on that to create their own campaign. And it was brought up to him that we wouldn't have won the fucking Second World War if we didn't have hundreds of thousands of black and ethnic minority groups fighting for us.
Yeah, from the Commonwealth.
Yeah, and he was like, like couldn't answer his question.
Right.
I was like, how dare you use the armed forces as like a scapegoat for your own popularity when their whole your whole party's viewpoint is undermined by the fact that we used black and ethnic minority people to fight our wars.
Those kind of people only want to perceive the Second World War through like the European theatre, don't they?
Yeah.
But even then, we still had fleeing soldiers from like France and Poland and the Low Countries fighting for Britain. You know what I mean? So even then, from that argument, he's still wrong.
Well, exactly. This is quite funny. He always sort of obviously had issue with the Conservative Party, the Liberal Democrats, all that kind of stuff.
His dad got kicked out of the Conservative Party. Right. Yeah. Because he was also a right-wing hat.
Too right-wing for the Conservative.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he always gets, there's pretty much no competition with how much they hate each other, those two. But you would imagine like him and Nigel Farage in the UKIP and stuff would be like best mates kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the amount of contempt he has for the UKIP is because they're not quite right wing enough for him.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh well, we don't agree with UKIP. We're kind of better than them because they're getting rid of the wrong people, basically.
Yeah,
Basically,
you'd think, given that he's such a polarising bloke, he'd try and cling to what little far right kind of community he could find.
Yeah.
But it's like the EDL thing again. Doesn't want to know
exactly.
them. It's
not quite bad enough for it.
It's not nichely kind of neo-Nazi enough for
Yeah,
it.
not quite racist enough.
Yeah.
So just an absolute delusional person, and we could go off for hours. I went through a rabbit hole when I was about 14, I remember, of just figuring out what this bloke was about. That was about the time he was going on. And even at 14-year-old Harry, couldn't believe how fucking ridiculous this person was. And the fact that half of, I don't know how many people voted for him, but for the European seat, but the fact that they couldn't see that is absurd.
That's not a great reflection of their character, is it?
Not at all.
That we could recognise that this bloke was abhorrent at like 14.
Yeah.
And actual grown adults with like mortgages, ironically,
which we'll get to,
couldn't identify that.
Yeah, insane. But yeah, anyway, Helmet of the Week this week, Nick Griffin. If you don't know who he is, do a little bit more digging because it will entertain you for certainly a couple of hours.
Yeah. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that clip.
If you want to see the full conversation, then head to the top link in the description.